Insurgency Sandstorm, a game that's been sucking up my hours over the past year, along with my Dyson V7 Animal Cordless HEPA vacuum, and personally, my favorite color, fuchsia. Now, I personally can't talk about Sandstorm without talking about the games that paved the way for me. Battlefront 2 on the PS2 to Counter-Strike Global Offensive on my 2013 Toshiba Satellite C55. They were really capable of sucking away those abundant hours you have through middle and high school. I pre-ordered Sandstorm in August of 2018. It was quite excited for what I had seen so far of it. Probably the most excited I had been for a game since Borderlands 2 in 2012. But that faded pretty quick because my computer had several aneurysms trying to run the early versions of the game, and all I have to show for it now is a small butterfly tattoo. Another game I have to thank is Insurgency, a standalone release of what was a mod using Valve's source engine by New World Interactive in 2014. Which had quickly amassed a cult following. I definitely didn't play Insurgency as much as other FPS games, like generic Battle Royale and Super Smash Bros. Meets tactical first-person shooter. I was, however, able to appreciate a lot that it had to offer, especially because my computer couldn't run Sandstorm. It allowed you to execute that perfect flank, only to run out of ammo on the fourth guy, or drop an unsuspecting enemy with your Mosin, knowing he has no idea where it came from. These are the things that sucked me in. The openness you have. The non-linear combat on a linear map. It's something it has over its competition. And don't even get me started on night maps. Totally changes the game. For example, Ponge Night, nothing beats pushing the same central building 8 times and dying to that same trench monkey. The game made you want to play one more life. The thought that you could change the game by pushing onto a point and clearing it, with all your dead teammates watching in doubt. Now that brings us to Sandstorm, the sequel that did, in my personal but far from professional opinion, exactly what it should do. It made the moments that you played Insurgency for just better. A quick run through of what makes up Sandstorm. When you launch the game, you'll find 2 modes, co-op and versus. In co-op, you fight through bots from objective to objective with several teammates. While I understand the appeal, I much prefer versus, although I think co-op could be fun with friends. Within versus, you will find 4 game modes. Push, and domination. Every game mode allows you to play as one of 2 factions, security and insurgents. And while I much prefer playing the latter, each brings their own weapons and fire support to the table. A feature that's not totally unique to Sandstorm but quite interesting is the commander-observer dynamic. The ability to call in smoke nowhere near an objective or minigun support with a gunner who back in 08 had you in a spawn trap on shipment can really change the outcome of a game. But the best fire support in the game has to be Amazon lending a helping hand via commercial drones to the entrepreneurs of the Middle East. With that quick overview of the game out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Now with that really important stuff done, we can move into weapons, arguably the most classifying part of a first-person shooter. Insurgency does something sort of unique with these limited roles or classes. Starting with the commander and observer. They must work together to call in fire support that can be vital to a victory, even if it's hardly the case. These classes use base weapons respective to their factions. Next you have demolitions who can use underbarrel and shoulder-mounted launchers to rocket jump behind enemy lines. Marksmen who utilize high-powered rifles and magnified scopes to sit as far away from the objective as possible to get those 4 really important kills. Gunner who do the same thing as marksmen but instead of 4 kills they get 20. Preacher who utilize SMGs, SBRs, and the almighty shotgun. And finally, Advisor, my personal favorite for obvious reasons. There's also Rifle. The new game mode Domination allows you to get away with some stuff you normally couldn't in Push. My friends and I have decided to transcend above the meta by popping heads and exploiting laser sights. Hell, throw some funky McLeod tunes so we spice up the delimbing process. That's just awesome. think it's the reward factor this game brings you, but not in the conventional way. There's no 1v3 clutches a la Counter-Strike or finally unlocking that final camo like in Call of Duty, but there's these impacts you create that push your side towards victory. From clearing a village, objective, to putting a rocket-propelled grenade into the cockpit of the fascist Boeing AH-64 all in the name of the homeland, and that is the reward. Toppling the fascist regime who can't seem to get their oily hands off the village you rightfully pillaged yourself. And that is what I love about Insurgency Sandstorm.
Bastard! Piece of shit!